We have 2 decades of academic clinical research that went into some of the things that we're rolling out.
One has to have a starting point for understanding causal mechanisms. And for that, genetics has been extraordinarily powerful.
What we wanted to do was to match people to existing medications based on their biology, based on their biological profile, based on their biomarkers.
It's kind of always been a struggle to figure out what the best medications are.
If you could predict genetically what drug someone will respond to, that's going to be huge. And that's what a huge focus of pharmacological research is these days: personalized prescription, individual treatments.
Our genes encode for different proteins that function throughout the body. And so a lot of these different proteins impact how people respond to medications.
Currently, we have blood tests for 6 indications being rolled out and available to the public.
We do a pharmacogenetic test, we get some information about a person's DNA, and that helps us to sort of tailor medication regimens based on their genetic differences.
We can essentially identify people who are at risk for certain characteristics.
Early intervention can totally change the trajectory.
So knowing that, I think it helps parents proactively put the individual in the right environment that is suitable for them.
You know, we've gone from thinking genetics has no impact to realizing that genetics has more impact on mental health and illness than everything else combined.
It's a cop-out to blame parents wholesale.
The environment induces changes in the sequence of our DNA.
The reason why mental health runs in families is due to genetics. The environment's important, but it's not the environment everyone assumed was important from Freud onwards.
One person with a certain characteristic of genetics respond to stress differently than another person. We all have the same genes, but minor variation in SNPs that really affects how we respond to the environmental stress.
Epigenetics comes from Greek, means above genetics. It's a way of regulating the expression and therefore the function of our genes that does not depend on the sequence of the genes.
Epigenetic factors, things that are turned on and off, are different in different individuals, but it's built upon, to some extent, on our genetics as well.
There's a kind of stigma about what a highly sensitive person is.
Sensory processing sensitivity is not a brand new trait. It's actually been around probably for 1 million+ years.
20% of us has it, and we know so little about it.
As much as it may be a gift and it may provide an advantage in certain situations, it also provides certain obstacles and challenges. And one of those is because we do have that lower threshold for overstimulation, we do absorb more from the interpersonal and the external environments. That also can predispose us to thinking about things more than we should.
So many people are struggling with their sensitivity, while as we would know more about it, they would feel proud and could flourish.
So in critical thinking, we are focusing on thinking about our thinking to improve our thinking. We're developing the voice of reason within ourselves that commands all of our other thinking.
I think about that individuality. I think about that just like our fingerprints are different, just like our DNA is represented in, individual or even familial traits. I think that can really be applied to the neurology of mental health and to what the brain is doing and all the unique changes that go on.
The project has remarkable ambitions, and remarkable scope of what it's attempting to do. There's no other project like it anywhere in academia that I'm aware of focused on mental health.
I just want to send this as a positive message. A lot of people may spend most of their lives not knowing that they might benefit from some help.
It really comes down to the right life. It's about adapting our lives to meet our needs.
We can tame this response by reducing or removing the environmental triggers.
You're going to be going through multiple emotional states. What's happening here? What's happening there? When that happened, I had something negative, a negative feeling. What was leading to that? Just that simple thing. What's the feeling? What is the thinking leading to it?
The stigma comes from lack of knowledge.
My hope is that this really just becomes standard of care.
Every person would understand that they are not at fault for being who they are.
Although I am just one person and my team just represents one approach, I want to make sure that everyone does know and is very hopeful about the fact that there are different approaches and that there are ongoing attempts to improve the status of anyone who's seeking help.
You don't have to fear, going through genetic testing because there's no way we can change the outcome.
There's a lot of hope.
Keep digging, keep asking, don't give up.
And these are really complicated issues, but there's great progress being made and there's reason for hope.
We need to be positive about acquiring information because, as you said, knowledge is power and information is our helper.